Okay, good afternoon. Hello, everybody, and welcome back into my kitchen. Today we're going to be making up a kielbasa bake along with a Swiss chard and sausage casserole dish and some breakfast sandwiches. We're going to start with, I'm going to make some tea to start. While that's going on, we're going to start chopping up some vegetables. Start with the kielbasa dish. It takes the longest. Also the most, I guess, complex. I don't know, it's the most things to chop. So today, at no point will I be using a measuring cup. It's pretty great. Uh, Basically, we're going to be using one of everything. Start with the kielbasa. Different cutting boards so don't contaminate. Using one ring. This is kind of nice because it's a dish where you just use whatever you have. Cut up the kielbasa in a bunch of little rings. So basically what we're going to do is I'm just going to take all of these, put them on the pan, and as I add ingredients, when the pan gets too full, well, I've added enough stuff. First vegetable. You may recognize this guy from last week. I used the purple one, but I couldn't use up the rest of this white cauliflower head, so it's going in. Right. So some tea going. really for this you can use any vegetable you want. I'm going to be using cauliflower, some broccoli, some onions, some potatoes. If you happen to have a bunch of peppers lying around, peppers work really well. You know, butternut squash, whatever. Anything that's kind of hard and doesn't fall apart. Tea leaves out. Wouldn't want that to oversteep. Let's add an onion. Hello, kitty. Well, no censorship to my knowledge. If I start blocking words, you need to tell me, because I can't really read the screen when I'm cooking. Hi, Demos. The one that says all the moderatory things is like 15 feet away in another room. I said I was going to add some broccoli. There's a chain by my house called Produce Junction. They have really good deals sometimes. Like, for example, the broccoli already cut up like this for me was actually cheaper than broccoli in the whole head. So I'll take less work. That much. Yeah, pretty much. And you're like, look at this deal I got on something that's totally not something teenage me would like. I don't know, but if I ever catch that person that keeps coming in my apartment and putting dirty dishes in the sink but never doing them, I'll have to beat them up. They never eat any of my food, but they just seem to put dirty dishes in the sink. I don't know who it could be. Oops. Maybe it was the cat. I don't know. There's a cat that I can see from the window of my apartment all the time, and I'm convinced it's a spy for the KGB. I might be missing that person too. Every now and then I'm like, wow, I wish someone would just do these dishes, and then I remember that there's only me, so I guess I have to do these dishes. Closely related to why you only buy things that are dishwasher safe. Grab a couple potatoes to put in. Now this is where if I had something cool like, I don't know, butternut squash, pumpkin, sweet potatoes, I'd be putting them in instead of regular potatoes. But I don't. I forgot to buy all of that at the grocery store. Yeah, the potato, I thought about trying to find something with more color, but then I still had the cauliflower and didn't want it to go to waste. And of course I used the purple one earlier. I couldn't, save the purple one, use the white one. Oh yeah, I should turn the oven on. So basically I'm going to finish cutting this up, add some spices, and then I'm going to put it in the oven. It's going to take between an hour and an hour and a half to cook. I'm not going to stir too hard right now. And then after 30-45 minutes I'm going to pull it out and stir the whole thing together. Because it's really overflowing right now, but if you give it time to cook, This is going to cook down pretty well. Oh, yeah. It helps to hit the right buttons. Okay, so for what I'm going to put on top of it, not tea. Dry my hands off. Couple spices, pretty simple. Garlic, thyme, little pepper, a little salt, and a little bit of crushed red pepper flakes. And then some oil on top of all of that so that nothing sticks. So, yes, wash them very well. Thyme. Now with the salt on this, I added a bunch. You're going to want to test this at the 45-minute or an hour mark. Various types of kielbasa have more and less salt in it. So like, I put a bunch in. You might want to put more. You might want to put less. I don't know. This is freeze-dried garlic. I'm picking this over fresh because it's going to take longer to cook and brown, which means that it's going to brown at the same rate as the rest of the stuff in the dish. These guys all away. This is red pepper flakes. This is to taste. I want a little bit of spice in the dish, so I'm calling this a 1/4 teaspoon-ish. And then a bunch of oil. Now remember, again, you have kielbasa in the bottom of this. Kielbasa does have oil and fat in it. But even so, I want to be generous. I want to make sure that we've got oil on everything. Spoon. Make sure these are kind of spread out. This is a really full pan. That's, oops, there goes a piece. And from here, I'm going to put this in. I'm going to set a timer for 45 minutes to pull it out and stir everything up. By then, a bunch of this stuff will have shrunk. Okay, see some tea. Oh yeah, we'll do that next. I've got 2 dishes left to make. I'm going to actually start with the breakfast sandwiches, because collectively they are easier. You've seen them a bunch of times before. This week, instead of bacon, I happen to have chorizo, so we're going to use some chorizo in it. If I can get the wrapper off. Okay. Just like with a lot of these things, I'm just going to squeeze the chorizo out of its casing. I don't need to eat casing. It doesn't taste very good. This is pretty spicy chorizo. It's got that nice, kind of deadly orange color. So I'm thinking it's got some decent spice to it. And as that cooks, I'm just going to break it up into little pieces. I want crumbles in my sandwich, in my breakfast frittatas. I don't want like giant chunks. And you can't, but I can smell the spicy, so I'm going with like 7 out of 10 on the spicy scale for chorizo. Oh, ooh, I get a spammer. Let's see. And that's taken care of. For the low, low price of all the pesos left in your bank account, you could have a friend for at least 30 seconds. Maybe 40. Look, I gave you 40 seconds. If it was like, New York City, it'd be like 3.5. Okay. onion peel. No one wants onion peel. Those are nice tiny pieces. Okay. Add a pepper to this guy as well. I believe all the fancy shows I can just do this and this and this, and then like I can maybe. Oh. Almost no seeds. It almost worked. Peppers. Grab potato. Grab two, they're cheap, and this one doesn't look amazing in the one corner here. Oh. Must only be skin deep. Maybe I will only need one. No, I am going to need two. That's interesting. potato has a hole in the middle of it. Yeah. Stir this guy. We're doing two things there. We're trying to get as much water as we can, especially since I've added peppers. We want to get all the water out. It won't stick together if I don't get all the water out. Add the potato. This will take about 5 minutes. Ends out of my way. Don't actually need you. Okay, there we go. Rest of these. I have to say these have held up really well because this is like week 7 or 8 in a row of using them, and I haven't had any issues yet. I was a little afraid they would just fall apart after 3 or 4 weeks. open the window, it's getting hot in here. Let's see. Now I'll wait. Smells good in there. They're nowhere near ready, but boy does it smell good in the oven. Oh, yeah. A little garlic for this too, why not? Garlic. Not quite there. But I can start working on the eggs. Not spread egg goop all over the kitchen. Really good color there. Nope. Close. I want to make sure that potatoes are fully cooked because there's nothing worse than eating raw potatoes when you expect cooked ones. Okay. Okay, there we go. Cooked pretty well through. Separate these into their dishes. Okay, cool this down for a minute. Stir these eggs up and put them on top. Okay. Yeah, a couple more eggs. Let's see. Maybe one will be enough. It's always hard to tell how full did I fill the pans this time. This one, this one. Okay. These guys can go in the oven. It's already set at 400, and actually about the right time. Okay, this can also get out of my way. So now we've got the last piece, which is the Swiss chard dish. Start out by getting the water boiling for the pasta, because it's going to take the longest time. For the size recipe I'm doing, I'm going to use half a pound of pasta in this. If you want to make it bigger, you could easily just use a whole pound. Get that lid out of my way. Let me actually pull up the recipe, make sure I'm doing the same thing I told you guys that I'm doing. Onion first. Say one large one, but I've only got small ones, so 2 small ones. Let's take a large. Come on. Made the mistake. I bought these like kind of cheapo yellow onions, and they haven't made me like cry a lot. They're just a massive pain to peel. Like the skin is super hard. Dice and fry these. A little bit of oil in the pan. These will take 10 to 15 minutes, something like that. I want these to get like golden brown. And while that is starting to get ready, let me pull out. There we go. My chunk of sweet Italian sausage here. You can use hot if you want. If you can buy it from someone where it's already been decased, I highly recommend it. I just don't have that option. on letting that cook, I can actually get this out of its casing. Come on. Yeah, the real reason you want to buy it already decased is it's a massive pain. Or it does things like this and just breaks into pieces. Okay, there was the raw meat part done for today. Those onions keep going. Turn the light on. Let me look at the ends. Nope. I mean, from this point on, it's pretty easy. It's just, we're going to cook the sausage once the onions are ready. Pasta in the pot. Swiss chard will go in that pot to cook down just a little bit. And we'll throw it all in a dish and throw it in the oven too. Let's see. This would be the only other thing left in the butt. And even though this looks like a ton, you do actually want the whole bunch, not just part of it. Basically, for the Swiss chard, stems cook slower than leaves, so take off the very end of it. Doesn't taste very good. Other than that, you're going to take each leaf. Let me actually take the ends off all of these. And one by one, we're going to cut the stem out of the middle. going to put the leaves to the side, and then just dice the stems. Normally you can buy rainbow chard, which has a bunch of colors. I recommend it. It looks cooler. Doesn't taste any different, but it looks cooler, and that's important. If you've never had Swiss chard before, it's kind of like super spicy spinach. It's what Kale wishes it could be if it grew up. Onion's almost ready. The eggs are fully cooked. So I'm going to take these off to the side. Okay, I'm going to take these off to the side and then close the door. Sometimes you only have so many hands. Now you've really got two options with these stems. I'll take the woodiest parts, which would be the tip and sometimes into the base of the leaf. But I actually throw them in to fry with like the onion. Your other option is to put them in about a minute before you put the leaf part in the boiling water with your pasta. Swiss chard is in, sausage is in. Get all these things out of my way. I've now lost the pot holder, but that's okay. Dish towels work too. It's been an hour, so we can stir. Our kielbasa bake here. It's obviously nowhere near cooked, but it's starting to look pretty good. Compared to before, the mound has gotten a lot smaller. I'm going to put this back in. I'm only going to put it in for 20 minutes this time. I'm going to see where we are. Probably taste it at that point. If it looks good enough, I'll just stop at that point and put it away. Yeah, I should. Salt and pasta water. Get my diced tomatoes ready. Garlic. Add some garlic. You guys might not know this, but garlic makes everything taste better. Unless you're a vampire. Okay. Once my Italian sausage is cooked, I'm going to add these 2 cans of tomatoes. Don't drain them. You're going to need that liquid. I've picked diced, unsalted tomatoes because, like with most things you can add to a dish, it becomes a lot harder to take out. So start with unsalted stuff, and then when you want to add salt, you can add as much until you feel it's good. And you really just want to make sure you've broken up your Italian sausage, because you're going to split this into dishes later, and you don't want a giant chunk. You want bite-sized pieces. Okay. In we go. 1. And one of these I think is diced, and one's petite diced. I didn't pay attention when I was at the grocery store. From here, I'm just gonna get this up to heat. Then I'm gonna turn it to low, just to simmer. Put the lid on it, and it is just gonna wait for me to have the pasta ready. And then it all goes together and in the oven. Pasta. You'd think that having done this every week, I would get the dishes out of the closet before I need them, but no. So this is simmering, so I'm going to stir it a little bit. There's some fond on the bottom of the pan, that nice brown piece. So it's going to lift up partially as I go with this, which is great. That's a chunk of flavor. If it doesn't all lift up, that's good. That's fine. If it does, amazing. I've got this down pretty low. Water's almost boiling. We're going to cook them 4 minutes less time than it says on the package. We're doing that so that we can let it finish cooking in the oven. So in this case, it's calling for 11 minutes, so take 4 off is 7. Almost there. As we all know, a watched pot never boils, but of course we're on Twitch, so everyone is watching the pot. I don't know how to get around that conundrum. And as I said, I called for half a pound. I'm not going to measure this. I'm too lazy for that. I'm just going to pour in what I think is half. pasta in. That much. Timer's going to go for 7 minutes at this point. Stage just off scene here. My crock dish. And then let me chop up the Swiss chard leaves. Just kind of like spinach. If you've ever cooked spinach, it cooks down like a ton. So does Swiss chard. So. Not too concerned, just kind of rough chop. Make sure this tastes good. Add a pinch or two of salt. Our kielbasa bake is starting to smell really good. And basically I'm going to trade these two dishes in and out of the oven, and then I'll be able to put away the kielbasa bake. Well, this one cooks for its last 15 minutes. And then I'll be able to pull it out and put it away. Productive day. Turn on the fan, it's getting kind of hot. Okay. Not burn my fingers. Now, if when you were to take your sausage and tomato mixture and pour it in the pan, there's absolutely no liquid, it's completely bone dry, take like a spoonful out of your pasta dish and throw it in there. You want a little bit of water. Not a lot, just a little. Okay. It's been the right number of minutes. Not spill this everywhere. Just need just like 30 seconds to a minute in the water. Our goal here is just to start that process, make them a little tender and not so rigid. Okay, so those are ready. Let me strain them somehow. Clean my sink. This. Okay. In my case, I'd like to just mix it all together in one pot before I pour it, so I don't have to try and pour things twice. Lid out of my way. Our goal here is to incorporate everything together pretty well. Okay. Actually, I can take this whole cutting board out of my way. Get our final dish ready. Now, right after I pour this in, we're going to have our breaking point moment. If you are doing this for eating now, you've got to do a couple steps. If you're doing this for eating later, you've got to do a different couple of steps. So first, in the pan. If you notice I didn't grease the pan, that's because by the time you're done stirring, it doesn't matter if you grease the pan or not. Okay. Even this out. Now, if you're eating this now, there are 2 ingredients you put on top. If you're eating this later, there's only 1. If you're eating this now, you need fresh mozzarella, and you chop up about 8 ounces and put it on top. In addition to, no matter what, we've got some Parmesan cheese, and we're going to add it to the dish. I think I said 1/4 cup on the Discord, but in reality, A, I can't measure, and B, I don't know what too much cheese looks like. So we're just going to add a bunch. Whoop. And like, I guess you could use pre-grated Parmesan if you really wanted to. Okay, that's close enough. It's a little over. So now this is going to go in the oven about 15 minutes. I just want the cheese to brown a little bit on top, and I want it to finish cooking the pasta. And as soon as I clear myself some space, we'll pull the other dish out. Okay. It's okay. So this dish is completely ready to eat. So you can see everything looks like it's nicely cooked through. A little bit of browning. I can't even feel the potatoes when I poke them, so they must be cooked. Stir it up nicely so that all of the flavors get mixed. And then we're just going to pack this up. And Kitty, I've never heard you get busy talking to someone ever. It never happens. Okay, let me grab my dishes. I think this is going to take 3. Just a little. So I'll grab the first 2 and go for the third. That much. Come on. One of these times I'm going to leave a burn mark on my little tablet screen from flicking food onto it. Hopefully it's not today. Third dish here, and I think that means just a little bit for dinner. last little bit in the bowl for now. Go with any color but the bright yellow bowl because it looks kind of radioactive on the screen. There is dish one all taken care of. Get this out of my way. Grab another container here, pack up a couple of these. So you can see they nicely break out when you cook them. I can just flip them over. I actually have shredded cheese and guacamole for work. So 2 will go in here. And these other 3 I'm just going to stack up later and put on a plate. These can go in the fridge. And then I got 8 minutes left. It's unusual for me to be ahead of schedule. Clean the spoon off between uses for once. Okay. Remove these last couple of dishes. It's really hot. Cast iron is really amazing, but it holds heat really well, which is good when you want it, but it stays hot. That looks almost ready. Alright, let's see. Almost. And the Parmesan has started to glisten on top of the pasta, so it's getting close to ready. And I guess now I may as well remind now, as good as any time, if you happen to be looking up and that heart in the corner of your screen is empty, and you want to make it full because you like looking at this food, please do. I do this every Sunday at 2 o'clock Eastern Time, 11 a.m. Pacific. And this week, actually, you may or may not have noticed there's not quite as much food as usual. There'll be something going on special on Thursday evening. Tuesday night, you'll see the post in the Discord, which has the link at the bottom of your screen and down below. Feel free to join and follow that. It should be 7 p.m. Eastern Time on Thursday. Okay, this looks good. Get this guy out. can actually see it bubbling here. Turn off the oven. Move these pieces over. And then this is also going to get split into 3 dishes. So now what you won't see, because I want to let this cool down first, is the fresh mozzarella, because I want the fresh mozzarella to melt for the first time when I'm heating this up for final consumption. One. Second. Okay, go and grab that 3rd dish. And it leaves just a little bit left. Between those 2 half bowls, it looks like I've got dinner. Come on. Let's go with blue. Yeah, blue bowl. Get the rest of this in a bowl. Okay, and since I'm going to eat this 5 minutes after I finish the stream here, we're going to put some of the mozzarella on top. I got fresh mozzarella, so the type you have stored in water. I think it tastes better than the type in a brick. Now somewhere there's a pull tab, maybe? Okay, I give up. Plastic. So I'm going to take a couple of these, and I'm just going to chop them to pieces. And one more here, yeah. Everyone likes mozzarella. And only once in my life have I heard someone say there was too much cheese in a dish. It tastes pretty good too. Okay, so with that, I think I am going to leave you guys. We've got every day's lunch at work packed up, plus an extra dinner for myself. Got my breakfast sandwiches, and I have dinner tonight. It's a pleasure cooking with you all. I will see you hopefully Thursday at 7 o'clock Eastern for a little bonus cooking. And if not then next Sunday at 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific. We'll do this all over again. I'm going to kick you off and send you over to Shweti, who is doing some food streaming. And we'll see you next week.